Alright, it is June 3, 2021, and these are the stocks in the main watch list. I also use stocks to trade and to have a bunch of alerts ready. AAPT, potential morning panic bounce play. HTZ GQ, same thing as well. Ideally it breaks under 6, but this one never trades with a lot of range, so nothing I'm too interested in terms of that. AMC, I will be watching this like last time around January when GME was very strong, and right now it is strong too. But GME would have like these flash crashes. They seem very sketchy, but it's basically, a morning panic bounce play ideally. The only issue is that sometimes they get halty. It has a big drop, right, and a big halt, and then it keeps, and you just don't have the ability to get out. But I'll consider AMC if it has like a significant drop. I guess something like this. If it's known to have fake outs, I might not be interested in trading it, but that's something I'm going to take into consideration. Maybe if it does like a huge panic or something. I don't think I'll be interested in trading this if it keeps breaking the day highs. In fact, it actually seems like we're on the backside of the move, so it's just going to be a watch really. MJWL is going to be a morning panic bounce play as well. FBCD is going to be the same case, but ideally I'm going to be more patient, and I'm going to miss them, sure, but I'd rather wait for something that drops significantly than to just be trading a random dip buy that doesn't even have much range. I don't like how the overall markets are looking, at least with SPY, because we've had this before when it has like a top here, a downtrend's top, but this is like almost like a double bottom. It's always been an uptrend. This one was a slight double bottom, but I guess it was still a higher low this from here, and this is just they're too close. It's getting extremely narrow. I just don't like how the overall markets are looking, but I could I could be totally wrong. This thing could continue uptrending like it doesn't care, but I just don't like the way the markets are looking right now. I don't know. Maybe it'll be just fine, but that's what I have in my mind. I have a whole bunch of alerts. This is maybe the second, third time that I'm really using alerts. Well, the first time that I started using them from the market open, but that's what I have in mind. We'll see if there's any setups. I'll definitely be looking, and I'll be cautious if today turns out to be like a negative, I don't know, 1.5% day that I could, it could affect the entire markets. Oh, and as an update, since I am also again looking at Nasdaq stocks, I will be looking at potential, dip buys with AMC or any kind of setup that seems, meaningful. Inverse head and shoulders is really the only thing I like trading with Nasdaqs, but I can keep getting better and try more setups. But I will be looking at other stocks like BlackBerry. Nothing I want to trade at the moment. It does have these highs at 28, and I'm not saying it'll get to 28 because this thing it's just running because AMC is running too. But I will be looking at BlackBerry here if there's any clear setups that I'm interested in. Nokia is also on the list. This one seems to trade a bit slower, probably has a very high float. It's just gonna be a watch for now. I don't like how high the float is on this one. GME, of course, is at 280 something. It's just going to be a wash. I mean, I guess this could be a breakout level around 300. Well, yeah, that would be kind of hard, but I see one at 280 too. It's just going to be a watch, really. I don't mind if I miss any of these setups or, don't trade them perfectly or just hesitate, because these are Nasdaq stocks. I haven't really traded them in a while. I don't know why I have this one, NVIS. This was like a pump with Wall Street bets, but I don't think it's been that popular recently. I'm gonna guess HTZ GQ isn't running with the rest of these stocks just because of the fact that it's a OTC, and a lot of these people who have Robinhood or whatever, they can't trade OTCs or don't want to because of commissions. Alright, it is 9:47 a.m. There is a lot more price action, a lot more setups today, a lot more interesting. I had one trade with MWGC, my first. This was a morning panic bounce play. A buy at 941 was right here, and I actually got executed. This is kind of rare, but my order was executed in the bid, and my exit was executed at the ask. So I got a buy at 238 on the ask, not on the ask, on the bid, right about here, you know, we kind of had that big volume candle here, tried, and then this was kind of like FBCD yesterday, if not the other one before that, where it just kind of trades back and forth here, although with a lot of volatility. It kind of breaks the range, new range. Normally doesn't go more than the second range when it's trading like this. It's not an exact science, but that's what I'm looking at. So I took a buy at, again, 941, 238, and I just hated the price action. I got executed here. I just hated the price action. Just traded like trash. 42, 43. We had this uptrend here. This was looking nice, but then it just had this sketchy candle, and then 44, and then alright, somebody looks like, it looks like somebody's just dumping a crap ton of shares. So I'm like, I'm not in the mood for this, you know, stock to, you know, go through a downtrend because some guy keeps dumping their shares on the bid. So I went ahead and I sold at 945.42 at 24. As soon as that happened, my order on the ask got executed, and then it shot to 244. But at the end of the day, the setup just didn't work out when I was interested in it. It didn't break past VWAP. It got close to it, but it didn't break past it. Maybe it'll actually do it here, you know. But there was some guy who was just having a lot of shares to sell, and it was kind of messing with the pattern. Was it an exact, you know, morning panic bounce play? Because it did downtrend here, and then it made another leg down, so it's not exactly the same. That's why I wasn't really, wow, AMC's down 30%. It got halted again. Yeah, I can't trade this because, you know, if it gets halted, I'm not going to be able to trade it because I don't want to be, you know, stuck in a halt. FBCD, I was interested in this, but then it just started to trade horribly, so I just decided not to be interested in it anymore. I forgot at one point I lost interest in it, but it just didn't look good. This was the only one that was clean, MJWL. I did consider a buy, but my limit wasn't really high enough, and so you can tell I was going to trade like a $200 position because this one was kind of scary. And this one, at least from my previous experience, is known to have like these horrible, very painful drops. That was an attempt at 940 right here. First green candle after we have that big volume downtrend candle right here. And the thing with this one is that I just, you know, when it does this, when it has a downtrend and the next candle is green and it trades with this much range, I'm just scared, really. Just don't want to trade it because I don't want to be chasing. But this one did it. Ultimately, my limit was at 445. Really should have had it higher, maybe at 45. I would have been executed. It did break past VWAP, and let's see, this one broke VWAP slightly, 473, and then it went under it, and then it went over it to 50. So that's, again, something I've been seeing lately that's very nice. And APT, I was watching this because it was like down 18% pre-market, but that was just a tick ultimately. Very nice uptrend here. No morning panic bounce plays. I'll be looking for more setups, nothing that I'm interested in. MJWL was the cleanest morning panic bounce play. NWGC just got boring. Somebody selling a lot of shares, obviously. So that really killed my interest. I'll be looking, but right now I don't see anything that I clearly want to trade at the moment. Alright, it's 10:21 a.m. Just want to make an update. I actually considered a buy here when it was around 50, but I felt like maybe it was a bit too late here with AMC. This is like a NASDAQ version of a morning panic bounce play. Just has a nice downtrend from the market open. Got halted, then we had a halt up, and then right here is when I could have considered a buy because everybody who just was short at some point, you know, whether it be today or pre-market or yesterday, just after we had these two halts on the downside and then we have this green halt, it's just going to mean a lot of people are probably going to be covering their shares. You know, maybe with this mindset that I have now, I would have considered it more, but I didn't trade it. I was kind of worried about this VWAP level, and I don't understand. At the time, it was much lower. The VWAP was right here. I guess now I got a bit higher. I don't know. I remember the VWAP being lower, and I wasn't very sure. 51 was the level of resistance that eventually broke past it. Got to 57. And now it's just, I don't think there's a setup really I can trade with this. It would have to be inverse head and shoulders. MJWL, this was the only one that was pretty much clean, although I don't like how I kind of reversed. It did have that big volume candle, but it eventually switched to green. It got as high as 50, nothing I want to trade. FBCD, nothing. Well, yeah, nothing I want to trade. I could try to hold the highs here. AAPT, this one was uptrending, now it's red on the day. Nothing I want to do with this unless it has a very clean drop with nice volume. And WGC got to 26. Well, almost got to 26, but basically did. My sell was right here, I believe, in this candle, right? 949. It just ultimately didn't work out. It's actually 945, so it was this one. It just didn't work out. I sold because it wasn't bouncing like MJWL. It wasn't an immediate bounce back. That's what I wanted. It was taking too long. Didn't like the price action. Went ahead and took a sell. This is the one that I guess works out eventually over time. In theory, it is an uptrend. We have a wick here. You know, small wick, small downtrend, somewhat higher lows. That could be a formula for, you know, a number 5 setup, but like a slow number 5 from 24 to 25.9. Well, again, it's just not that much range. I'll still be looking at AMC. Looks like a potential head and shoulders here, although nothing really clean. BB, just, I guess it's gonna break VWAP, but nothing. I mean, I'll have to really look over these again, but I don't see anything that I'm too interested in. I think MVIS had an inverse head and shoulders. Yeah, this one did, and it worked out, I guess. Yeah, shoulder, head, and then we have a shoulder here at 18, uptrending inverse head and shoulders here, 18 to 1835. It's just not, it's not nice range. I'll keep looking, but no setups right now. Alright, it is 10:59 a.m. AMC, this was nice. We have that morning panic, that bounce setup I was thinking about. It got as high as 57, and then you short. So this is like a number 6 pattern. You short the bounce after the morning panic. At the very top of the bounce, ideally. You even had like a second attempt right here to get into. Right under VWAP. And if you look at GME, same thing. You know, bounce. This one held the VWAP a little better, but ultimately downtrended, I guess, as low as what, 250, 260. Not that much range, but people who trade with large accounts, you know, large position size, it's really good. KOSs did it too, although it wasn't that close to the VWAP, so there would have been more risk. AMC totally did it. That's very impressive. I guess I'll have to look towards making another account with E-Trade, or just funding that account so I can have some shorts. I'll have to go under the pattern day trader rule, but you know, I'll be able to short. That's something I'll take into consideration. And as for the OTCs, NJWL, nothing. AAPT, nothing. FBCD did an uptrend here, but you know, I'll probably start considering these more. This one was also uptrending. You see the wick, smaller wick, and then it started holding the level just like NWGC, and then it had that eventual spike at around, what is this, 10:30, and then this one at 10:30 was near the highs as well. This is something I'm gonna have to get used to and maybe try to find a pattern around it, try to catch it while it's still happening, and then consider a trade. No setups at the moment. I'll keep looking, but I'm definitely going to consider, if I'm going to be looking at NASDAQ setups more, a short selling account. I highly doubt that this thing was even shortable. Jeez, I don't even know if it'll work because I don't have enough. I don't even know. Let's see. Let's put one share at 60. Yeah, insufficient funds. I need to fund this account, but I don't know if this thing even was shortable. I'll take a look. I know Schwab has some of these You know, a lot of the OTCs are available for shorting. Maybe I'll just open a second account with Schwab for shorting. That's where I'm at the moment. Nothing too solid. I will be considering opening a shorting account, and then I'll have this one for log setups. Alright, it is 12:06 p.m. Wait, let me confirm this. Yeah, that is crazy. NWGC 24 to 34. That's like a 50% move right there, right? Because it's 24, 10 cents, 34. Yeah, give or take a 50% move. That's impressive. Head and shoulders right there. This thing keeps uptrending, and you know, I even considered shorting this, but I don't have a short account until now. I made a short account, and it is only going to have 2,500. If it turns out that I really could use it, sure, you know, I'll add more money, but I'm probably just gonna take it easy with that account. It's gonna be a margin account for shorting, and on top of that, it can do not just shorting, but it can do options. I don't trade options, but you know, just to in case I ever have to do options in the future, you know, I'll have an account that already has options enabled, so it just saves me that much time in the future when it might matter a lot more. But and I have an account that I can short with. It's very easy to change accounts on Schwab. You don't have to get out of the platform. And when you look at this, this is so cool. This is going to be a new tab, the short list. AMC, it was shortable at one point, not anymore. Same with GME. GME was actually shortable too. NWGC, it's kind of crazy to see that this stock can be shorted. You know, a stock that is 3 pennies. FBCD limited, MJWL limited, and from what I believe, these things do not really, they don't really charge you any commissions. Now they might charge margin interest by holding a position for a while, but here's the thing. I looked it up. Yes, Schwab does enforce the 250 rule, so that means I cannot short like my full account size. I need to not make this so small. Yeah, it just looked too small there. For example, NWGC, you know, I actually thought about shorting it when it was at 34, but I didn't have that account already there, and I don't know if it's completely, if I can start trading with it now, probably not, but you know, I can only short a tiny $30 position on OTCs that are under 250, right? Because it follows the 250 rule, so that means I can only trade 1,000 shares. So you know, that would only be a $30 position here, but I mean, I have no problem doing that just to get that experience going, and I will be considering shorting, of course, NASDAQ stocks as well. It's going to take a while. I have to readjust and see how it plays out, but AMC, I think it was shortable back here with Schwab, and this was a nice, you know, short towards that VWAP. If not GME, GME was more readily available compared to AMC, but you know, this was a nice level to short into. I mean, 55, and then it got as low as 39, so it's definitely trading with range. And of course, this account, shorting account, is going to be, you know, under the PDT rule, so that means I can only do 3 in and outs per week, which is totally fine. I don't mind that at all. It's just going to be a small account there, so I look forward to that. That's where I'm at the moment. Just, I guess let's just go over AMC. I guess it's starting the uptrend. It could do a small bounce and then it might downtrend from here, but if it gets crazy, this thing can start picking up, you know, volume and volatility and start an uptrend. AAPT looks like it's down, but it never offered a morning panic bounce play unless you want to count this, which I honestly don't want to count that. MJWL, this one was one that worked. It was fast, initially fast. FBCD, this one did an uptrend too. Again, I've went over these. NWGC though continued to 34. I don't think I would have held that long at all, but I'll definitely start considering this setup. Stocks that have that morning panic bounce play, but it never does a bounce. It just kind of chills here, puts up higher lows. I'll consider that, maybe especially when it breaks VWAP. That's all I got at the moment. You know, more optimism, feeling a lot better compared to last week. Just feels like there's more opportunity out there, especially, you know, looking at NASDAQs and being able to potentially short some of these setups. I wonder if BB is also shortable. Not just BB, but NOK. Alright, BB is totally not available. Nokia is limited, so again, that's something cool. I'll be looking forward to this, and yeah, I'll still be looking for setups right now, but nothing right at the moment that I'm just like really close to buying. There's nothing like that. Alright, it is 12:46. I had a really speculative trade and I just sold. This thing can keep going, but I just went ahead and took a sell when there was a sign of a price reversal, which it seems like it might be the case here. But this thing could just dip to this 1550 level if it holds support, and then uptrends from there. It can keep going, and that can be super impressive. I had a small trade. This is my first, I think this is my first NASDAQ trade in months. BlackBerry is the stock, and why did I buy this? This thing is an inverse head and shoulders, shoulder, head, shoulder, but it's not just the inverse head and shoulders. It's an uptrending inverse head and shoulders, as in the shoulder here is higher than the shoulder here. On top of that, we have green to red risk, so we don't just have the shoulder here. We have $15 as support. We have green to red, or rather green to red as support, and as well as the shoulder end right there. You can even probably draw a trend line, but I've learned not to really do trend lines because those are very inexact. The only thing I didn't like about this setup that made me, one of the reasons why I sold is just because I saw a reversal in the price, even if it's going to be for a few minutes and then it just keeps making new highs. But 1550 was a level of resistance, and it broke through it, caused a big squeeze right here, pushed it to 1580 something. But I didn't like how the VWAP was downtrending, so that means that there is just less range opportunity. Now it's at 1536. You know, if this thing can just keep holding this and kind of follow a trend line, give or take, it can work. But I just sold because I didn't like how the price action was looking at the very top. I saw right when the price action started to look bad. VWAP was downtrending, which means less reward potential. It could still work as long as it holds green. I mean, this thing can keep going. I'm gonna guess I didn't make very much. I made $2, and that was almost a 2% gain. My entry was not perfect, by the way. My entry, let's just go over it. I bought 10 shares at 15.43, so 15.43 at 12.39. Right here, that first peak, I could have gotten in at this 15.30s very easily, but you know, I kind of chased it. But at the same time, I don't see the problem of buying into strength, because when you buying the strength, you know, ideally the strength is continuously going. Then if you were to like, let me buy in the weakness right here, and then the downtrends, and it freaks you out. So not bad. And then I sold when the price started the reverse. I sold at 1571, which I guess was near the top of this range right here at this candle. Just a buy here, a sell here. It can obviously keep uptrending. I don't have, I hate being right on the setup and then it downtrends and I have to sell for a loss. So that's kind of why I took a sell there. And it's also a small position size. Just traded a tiny, $150 position because I'm trading NASDAQs. I haven't done those in a while. Still holding this, level right here. Still kind of holding this trend. As long as it can keep holding it and stay green above, on the day, that could be nice. But it is a bit sketchy. It could be the first official red day. SPY overall markets are looking better. They really woke up. I mean, when it was pre-market, I mean, it looked kind of bad, but it really woke up. This was pre-market, right? Super nice uptrend. This is the first big red day with BlackBerry, so the idea was that this is a morning panic bounce play, but kind of like a NASDAQ. And this was a lower low. Didn't take a buy here in the 13s, but that's pretty much the idea. Morning panic bounce play. You know, lots of consolidation here in the 14s. I think this stock has a high flow because it doesn't trade with that much volatility. I mean, 14 to 15, that's pretty much what it did there. And then, I mean, it trades with a lot of volume. I mean, you know, you can easily trade some mega large positions here. And then we have this lower low, but then it turned out to be an inverse head and shoulders, which is why I took my buy in here. Not exactly at the, you know, inverse head and shoulders level. You might have called this the inverse head and shoulders shoulder, and this is the second higher low, but I took a buy there nonetheless and sold at the peak. It could keep uptrending, but you know, I am kind of late to the setup when I bought, so that's something to take into consideration. That also again applies with AMC, just the first real big red day. Morning panic bounce play just with a NASDAQ. This one was halty. Again, could have been a buy in the 47s, a sell in the 56. Downtrends, you know, this could be not. This one didn't actually do it. Not really an inverse head and shoulders. This is a shoulder. This number really was a shoulder. I guess you could say it was, but you know, 44 to 48. I guess that's what is that? A 10% move? That's not too bad. As for the other stocks, AAPT looks like nothing. MJWL nothing. FBCD nothing. Just out of curiosity. GGII just looks like crap too. LTNC is up a little. That looks super sketchy. Yeah, so that's where I'm at the moment. You know, the account is ready. I can officially short stocks. You know, if I were to short, for example, I guess you can't short anything that's under a penny. Like this one, AAPT is under a penny. It's not. It doesn't even show that's available. But you know, I look forward to potentially shorting. You know, it's just going to be the way it is. Really happy with today. We'll keep looking for more setups, but I probably won't trade anything else. I might, but I doubt it. Alright, it is 3:32 p.m. I'm here to call it off for the rest of the day. This is very nice. BB got as high as, what is this, 17, I'd say give or take 1758. My original buy was right here, 1239. Right about here at 1239. This candle right here. Immediately sold because I didn't, you know, I didn't want to hold through a downtrend, and that's what got me out of it. And I sold at 1245, which was right here at that little wiki candle, and it downtrended. Yes, you know, I got as low as 527, which was a lot lower than, you know, where I was in by 20 cents. But yeah, again, that inverse head and shoulders. So we have support. You can say the shoulder here, maybe the second higher low. You have support at that you know, that green, you know, green to red. So we have plenty of support. Eventually I went for this level. I didn't go for the shoulder, but you know, even if you're like lazy or just not disciplined, you can I mean, that can be a problem. You risk it off of here, then this, and then you totally cut. You know, if it breaks below this, you can risk the shoulder, this shoulder, you can risk 15, you can risk the change right there. So that's exactly what I did. Just risked it off of this first line right here. Again, sold because I didn't like the change in price action. I held for 6 minutes. Look, I'm not holding trades for like 1 minute or 45 seconds. I've definitely have improved in that. So that's one thing that is good. Sold at again 1571. You got as high as 17, so that would have been a pretty profitable trade. I mean, the percent here was just, it was almost 2%, but you know, that would have been a 10% move, I think. Yeah, 10%. That would have been 10% just selling at 17. That's impressive. That's really impressive. Again, just the first down day with BB, and then we had that bounce, tiny bounce, drop here, spike, tiny spike, follow up. You know, you could have bought that morning panic bounce place, you know, lower low setup right here. That would have been impressive. But I went for the inverse head and shoulders, shoulder, head, shoulder. Of course, you know, it bounced here, but you don't know, it could have continued to bounce, so that would have been a bit risky. That's why I like inverse head and shoulders, because it shows that, you know, there might be a change of momentum. And that's what happened here. We did have a head and shoulder, shoulder, head, shoulder. Did not consider shorting that. It's not shortable. I wasn't really here anymore at this point of the day. That's pretty impressive. Yeah, just a good trade with there. And wow, NWGC, yeah, it got as high as 36. Oh, this would have been more ideal. I wouldn't have liked, you know, holding through it, selling there. That would have been like, oh, I didn't get to sell here, let me just hold through. I don't like that, especially how at any point it could have touched the VWAP, which it did right here. This one's very nice. This it looks like nothing now because it bounced so much, but I need to get better at setups like this that doesn't do an initial morning panic bounce play like, you know, MJWL was very quick and initial. It looks like I did another one right here, but I wouldn't have traded that. Very quick and initial. FBCD was a very gradual one, although this one didn't, you know, uptrend as long as NWGC here did. That's super impressive. Really, really cool. I need to get, you know, better at these type of setups. LTNC did this a lot too. And yeah, AAPT is the other one. This one downtrended the entire day, unfortunately. When it does it like this, you know, it's no good opportunity. I'm gonna call it off. Just a good trading day. I'm very happy because, you know, I feel like I'm not going, you know, it feels like I'm not going nowhere. I can do NASDAQs, I can short. You know, these two things mean a lot. I'm doing better at holding positions. Sure, I could have held, you know, again, BB a lot longer, but I just didn't want to sell on a downtrend, or, you know, maybe I'm just right for a little bit and then it keeps downtrending. But this is nice too. Maybe I could have sold like half my position, which would have been 5 shares. You know, just a good trading day. Gonna call it off. Look forward to tomorrow. A lot of new opportunities.